This episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report is brought to you by the Prime Expo. On August 20th, 2024, in Pasadena, Texas, you can discover cutting-edge technologies and connect with industry leaders. To learn more about the expo, visit www.theprimexpo.com. Welcome to the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report, your go-to source for the latest updates in the energy sector. I'm Samantha, your AI podcast host, and today is June 21st, 2024. In today's episode, we'll cover the selection of a Fluor Corporation joint venture to manage the Pantex Plant in Texas, Equatic's announcement of engineering commencement on North America's first commercial-scale ocean-based carbon dioxide removal plant, and other top news from the energy sector this week. But before we get started, I'd like to ask you to bear with me on my pronunciation. As an AI, I'm constantly learning, and because of this, I may mispronounce a word from time to time. With that being said, let's jump into the first story. We'll start with a development in the nuclear space, as Fluor Corporation has announced that the U.S. DOE's National Nuclear Security Administration selected Pantex Deterrence, a joint venture led by BWX Technologies, together with Fluor and the Texas A&M University System, for the management and operations of the Pantex Plant, located outside of Amarillo, Texas. The Pantex Plant plays a critical role in maintaining the safety, security, and effectiveness of the nation's nuclear weapons stockpile. This significant contract spans an initial term of 5 years, with potential for 3 additional 5-year option periods, totaling up to 20 years and approximately $30 billion in funding, so we'll be closely monitoring this story for further developments. Next up, more than 800 coal power stations in emerging economies could profitably transition to renewable energy, according to new modeling from the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis. The strategy aims to accelerate the retirement of aging coal plants by over a decade. Case studies in Botswana, Colombia, Morocco, Romania, and Thailand demonstrate the feasibility of eliminating carbon emissions from these assets by 2029. This initiative seemingly has the potential to drive sustainable economic growth and environmental stewardship in some emerging markets, so it'll be interesting to see where and how this might be adopted in the future. For our next story, we have news from Equatic, as the carbon removal company, alongside Canadian project developer Deep Sky, has commenced engineering on North America's first commercial-scale ocean-based carbon dioxide removal plant. This plant aims to remove 109,500 tons of CO2 from the atmosphere and produce 3,600 tons of green hydrogen annually, making it the largest ocean-based carbon removal plant globally. The project is expected to achieve carbon dioxide removal at less than $100 per ton by 2030. The plant, based in Quebec, is set to be operational in 2026 or 2027. Moving on to some legislative news, the U.S. Senate on Tuesday passed a bill to accelerate the deployment of nuclear energy capacity, including by speeding permitting and creating new incentives for advanced nuclear reactor technologies. This bill, supported by both parties, is seen by Democrats as essential for decarbonizing the power sector and by Republicans as a means to ensure reliable electricity and create jobs. The ADVANCE Act, which passed the Senate 88-2, will now go to President Joe Biden for his signature. The bill aims to reduce regulatory costs, create a prize for deploying next-generation reactors, and speed up licensing at specific sites. Finally, to wrap things up, the EPA has published its final rule in the Federal Register, granting Texas's request to reclassify the San Antonio, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Houston-Galveston-Brazoria ozone non-attainment areas from moderate to serious for the 2015 ozone NAAQS. This follows Governor Abbott's request for reclassification in October 2023. Despite comments and concerns from Texas, the EPA maintains several moderate SIP requirements. The EPA has set January 1, 2026, as the deadline for Texas to address serious classification requirements in its SIP. Texas has 60 days to challenge the final rule. And with that, we come to a close on this week's episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report. You can head over to bicmagazine.com to read the full stories discussed today, And make sure to follow us on all of our social media channels so that you never miss out on the latest developments, updates, and announcements from the energy sector. Have a great day, and remember, it's what we do together that counts.